The GOAT retires. Brady calls it quits for good this time.
You killed it, my friend. I appreciate you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
Tonight, a look at his legacy in football and the impact his retirement could have on the Bucs. Plus, a big trafficking bust.
These people, it's all about money and their own pleasure. They're evil.
A multi-agency operation puts accused offenders behind bars. County and state leaders share details on the investigation involving a teen. And fighting gun violence. A local sheriff's office created its own firearms lab. We'll show you the technology that could slash the time it takes to solve crimes.
Well, it is deja vu all over again this evening with Tom Brady once again announcing his retirement.
And it's official this time. After 23 seasons, the 45-year-old has retired from the NFL. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay at 6. I'm Angelina Salcido in for Carolina.
And I'm Dave Wagner. Good to have you here this evening. Tom Brady racked up 7 Super Bowl titles and 5 Super Bowl MVPs during his remarkable career. While he led the NFL in passing yards, touchdowns, completions, and attempts, his career came to a screeching halt last month in the wild card round against the Cowboys. Despite that disappointing 31-14 game, Brady says he has nothing but love for football.
I'm retiring for good. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing.
Now we have team coverage on Tom Brady's retirement with crews at Ray J in downtown Tampa. We'll get to them in a moment, but first, our sports director, Evan Klosky, is here to break down this announcement and what is next for the team. Now, Evan, it feels like a little like Groundhog Day, which is tomorrow. This happened exactly 1 year ago today. Now, this time, can we actually believe that he's done playing professionally, though?
Yeah, he done. Yeah, he ain't coming back. Tom Brady is not going to make the same mistake twice. I know everyone wondered why he came back around for another season, but in his mind, the final goal was always playing until 45 years old, and he did just that.
Yeah, it was kind of an awkward retirement as we know from last year, and then in hindsight, we know that he was having some marriage issues, of course.
Yeah, exactly. His personal life had a lot to do with the retirement the first time around. His family still has a lot to do with it this time around because, let's be honest, the guy can still play at 50, but mentally, reports indicate he is exhausted and ready to move into the broadcasting booth where he nets a $350 million contract, more money than he ever made playing in the National Football League, by the way.
Amazing.
So with the Brady era over, what now? What do the Buccaneers do?
That is the million-dollar question, and the answer is uncertain. No one in the building will admit a rebuild is coming, but it's tough to imagine they can keep the Super Bowl window open, especially since they are $55 million over the salary cap and mortgaged a bit of their future these past 2 seasons. The only quarterback on the roster is former Florida quarterback Kyle Trask, who has only suited up for 2 games in 2 years. The team can, of course, go into the free agent market or make a trade. And don't get me wrong, there are still plenty of Super Bowl champions on this roster, but you ain't going anywhere without at least an above-average quarterback or the best defense in the world. And at this point, Tampa Bay doesn't have either.
Yeah. Do you draft someone? Do you take someone from another team? Who's available? That's the big question.
Those are the debates we're going to have for the next handful of weeks.
A lot of different questions. And he's truly more than just a player, right? He truly put a spotlight on Tampa, one that we've never seen before.
That's true. And 10 Tampa Bay's Miguel Octavio talked with fans about what the GOAT brought to Tampa Bay on and off the field.
Well, there was no shortage of gratitude from fans to Tom Brady, and this time they feel there's no going back. They just want to wish him a happy retirement.
In downtown Tampa, fans could not say these 2 words enough.
Tom Brady, thank you so much.
Thank you for everything you've done for the city.
Fans still can't believe the GOAT brought us a Super Bowl at home.
Legacy is cemented, so you might as well go ahead and, do his next chapter in life.
Buck superfan Big Nasty says he'll always remember that victorious moment.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You made my bucket list come true.
Meanwhile, the What the Buck Really Matters Foundation says support for charitable causes more than doubled since Brady's move.
The impact he had was so major in this community.
But even without Brady next season, fans reassure they'll be throwing support for the Bucs in their quest to redeem themselves. Miguel Octavio, 10 Tampa Bay.
Like a little piece of my heart just leaves with him, too, following him from Boston all the way to Tampa.
Yeah, you especially have some of that. But it's not just fans that are going to be missing the GOAT. In just 15 minutes, we'll take you out live to Raymond James Stadium. That's where sports reporter David Shealy will join us with how his fellow athletes are reacting to the news.
Well, we have more details and analysis on the future of the Bucs on our website. You can check that out right now at 10tampabay.com.
Tonight, at least 8 dozen people face charges stemming from a human trafficking case out of Pasco County. Investigators say it is an example of just how quickly things can go downhill for victims. And as 10 Tampa Bay's Eric Glasser reports now, why it's so important for people to speak up if you see something suspicious.
Physically, she was absolutely abused. Mentally, she was tortured also.
Pasco Sheriff Chris Nacco detailing the 2-week timeline, a rapid downward spiral for a 16-year-old girl, and the arrests of 12 people who had sex with her rather than helping the teen, whether they knew she was a minor or not.
Florida statute says you do not need to know somebody's age to be charged with a felony if you have sex with a minor.
Detectives say the young victim ran away from home and over the course of 14 days met several people at local hotels who gave her alcohol, drugs, and then had sex before introducing her to other people who did the same.
I don't think there's a law enforcement officer in this room, no matter how much experience they have, that these cases don't turn their stomach.
Along the way, investigators say the girl was introduced to Candace Tekdogan, who had sex with the teen before encouraging her to dance at local strip clubs.
She starts giving her wigs, she starts giving her provocative clothing, and she also gives her a stage name by the name of Sassy.
Soon after, someone shows Tekdogan a sheriff's office flyer with the girl's picture. Now, she knows she's a runaway and a minor.
Candace calls up and notifies law enforcement that this is where this girl is. This is where she's at the La Vista Hotel.
It takes one person noticing something out of place, one person noticing that a child might be in danger and reporting that and knowing how to report that will help us solve these cases and take these dangerous predators off the street.
Sheriff Nacco says that 16-year-old girl is now receiving help at the Center for Human Trafficking Victims. It's likely, he says, there will be more arrests in this case, an example of how quickly things can go bad in the world of human trafficking and why paying attention to those missing persons posts on social media can be so important. In Newport Richey, Eric Glasser, 10 Tampa Bay.
And investigators say in at least one of those interactions, the teenager made it clear she did not want to have sex, but was told she had to.
Now to developments in the ongoing saga with the pilot course on African American studies. Today, the College Board released new framework after Governor Ron DeSantis announced the state would reject the course. Now, there were several notable changes. Critical race theory has been removed, and other contemporary issues like the Black Lives Matter movement are now optional. The governor pushed back against the original framework, calling certain aspects political, but the College Board says that's not the goal.
No AP course, whether it's our course in Japanese culture and language or Spanish culture and language, requires students to study a specified theory, trains them in an interpretation. Instead, it immerses them directly in the facts and evidence and lets them think for themselves.
Now, we reached out to the governor's office to get his reaction on the updated framework and asked if he was satisfied with the changes. A spokesperson told us the Department of Education is reviewing the material for compliance with Florida law. We'll let you know when their final interpretations have been reached.
Today kicks off celebrations honoring the heroes of the civil rights movement and the sacrifices they've made to further equality in America. To recognize Black History Month, St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch was joined by community leaders to raise the Woodson African American Museum flag above City Hall. Dr. Carter G. Woodson was an author and the son of former slaves who proposed a History Week that later became known as Black History Month.
Black history is American history. As a society, we've come a long way, but there are always sobering and painful reminders in our country of the work that still needs to be done.
Welch says his administration is committed to addressing racial inequities in education, housing, and in the workforce.
Still ahead, a local sheriff's office opens a new firearms lab. Why they say it will help crack down on violent crime about 10 times faster.
So how does Bucs tight end Cameron Brate feel about catching Tom Brady's final touchdown pass? He was adamant about what he wants to do with the ball moving forward. Plus, more reaction from teammates about the GOAT's retirement announcement today. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office has launched a new firearms lab.
Now, the goal of the new resource is to solve gun-related crimes quicker and more efficiently. 10 Tampa Bay's Megan Myers explains how it all works.
Each firearm has its own fingerprint per se when it comes to firing a cartridge. It's very unique, just like a fingerprint, because there's no two firearms that are similar.
When investigators go to a crime scene, they collect firearms and bullet casings as evidence. In a lot of cases, those materials are sent over to a state lab in order to run them through a national database.
This technology examines that fingerprint and allows us to develop leads and track that suspect that may have used this firearm in another case.
When it's sent off to the state lab, the turnaround time is about 169 days.
While we're in that delay, that investigative delay, this perpetrator, this violent offender could be out victimizing more individuals in our community.
Now a staff of 5, including forensic firearms manager John Romeo.
It's like matching a puzzle. It's a lot of tedious work under the microscope.
And a room full of new technology is changing that. With this new firearms lab in-house, they can get that information back in a period of 24 hours to a few weeks.
To the victims in our community, help is here and help is coming. To those violent offenders who are out there watching and believe that they're not going to get caught, we just got another tool, another resource in our tool belt, and we're coming for you.
In Hillsborough County, Megan Myers, 10 Tampa Bay.
The sheriff says in a little over a month, their staff in the lab has made correlations in aggravated assault and battery cases, 1 homicide case, weapons violations, and a theft case.
Now let's get you in the know with some other stories making headlines this evening. A 58-year-old woman is in critical condition after St. Pete police say she was hit by a bus operated by Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority. Investigators say it happened this morning around 10:20 a.m. at the intersection of First Avenue North and MLK Street North. Police say the woman was not in the crosswalk when she stepped out from the curb and then got hit. She was pulled out from underneath the bus.
Governor Ron DeSantis was in Tallahassee this morning to recommend his so-called Framework for Freedom budget. He says it will bring the largest tax relief Floridians have ever seen. That includes a 1-year sales tax holiday for household items under $25 and a permanent sales tax exclusion on all baby necessities and over-the-counter pet medications. The budget is a record-setting $114.8 billion. It will go before the legislature when lawmakers reconvene in March. Well, meteorologist Tyler Moore joins me now, and we've had the nicest weather. I can't even complain.
It's been a great start to the week, really. This is the time of year when everyone up north gets a little jealous, right?
Yes.
Winter's been very long for them, and we just keep the nice temperatures going.
And it's going to keep getting warmer.
Yeah, keep getting warmer. We have a little bit of a dip heading our way this weekend with a little bit of a front, but really, overall, temperatures are looking really good all the way into next week. We're just talking 70s and 80s, so really not even that big of a drop as we fall down into the middle 70s for the weekend. But out there right now, another beautiful evening. The sun has just set out there at the Bellwether Beach Resort camera. You can see a nice hue on the horizon, some of those oranges and yellows. Not a lot of clouds to get a really beautiful sunset, but those cloud-free skies let a pretty beautiful day go by. 76 right now in St. Pete with those clear skies and winds out of the west very lightly, generally less than 5 miles per hour. Temperatures out there right now, you can notice towards the coast, you got cooler temperatures, and that's because the Gulf water is in the 60s, so a little bit of a cooling effect in Crystal River at 70, 76 in St. Petersburg, 73 in Venice. As you head inland towards Bartow, still hanging out in the lower 80s at this hour as the sun is now setting. On the temperature map, though, can you pick out Florida? It's not too hard. Jacksonville, Tampa, Key West, all in the middle to upper 70s. Everywhere else, we got 30s in Little Rock and Oklahoma City, 19 in Minneapolis, 8 in International Falls. That's it for them up there. So that cold air has really sunk pretty far south, even down into Houston in the 30s right now. And that's leading to a wintry mess for some of the southern plains as they have a low pressure system that's kind of moving along the coast, pulling up some moisture, and that cold air is in place. And that's why you're seeing some of these pinks and purples. That's freezing rain and sleet. You're likely hearing about the stories of the ice covered roadways, the half-inch of ice that they're picking up in parts of central Texas. That's going to continue throughout the overnight hours tonight, even into tomorrow morning before things start to get better for them. On the backside of this low pressure, though, we have a cold front, and that's going to sweep our way towards Friday. So it's still going to take another 48 hours or so to get here. But until then, we keep the nice weather going. There is the clear skies on the radar and satellite. Did see a couple clouds mix mainly inland throughout the afternoon hours today. Temperatures continue to fall through the 70s tonight. by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, not too bad. Low to middle 60s across the area. Now notice the winds are calm tomorrow morning. We got plenty of moisture in the air, so we are going to see the chance for more patchy fog as you wake up Thursday morning. Now tomorrow afternoon, that fog burns off. We see more sunshine. Temperatures climb right back into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Now as we head towards Friday, here comes that cold front we were just talking about. More clouds increase throughout the morning hours Friday, and then during the afternoon hours, the front pushes in. We're going to see the chance for some scattered showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm, but it's pretty quick moving. Notice by the evening hours on Friday, it's already pushing further to the south out of our area. That will give us more sunshine and drier weather for Saturday, but really it's just Friday we're watching some of those higher rain chances, about a 50% chance of rain across the area. Temperatures do take a little bit of a dip. We're dropping down into the middle 70s for Friday into Saturday, but then a nice warm up as we head right into next week. So overall 70s and 80s continue. Watch out again for a little bit of that patchy fog tomorrow morning. Then it's all sunshine for your Thursday afternoon. Some raindrops around the area on Friday, and then just a bit cooler for the weekend.
Now, Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa brings you 10 sports.
Oh yeah, for sure. I kept the ball. I mean, I was keeping it more for like myself. Than, like I wasn't really thinking about Tom, but
you could probably get some good money for that.
I know that's what everyone was saying when I got back to the locker room.
College tuition right there.
Yeah, I know. Recession's coming, they're saying. So yeah, no, I'll hold on to that one. I don't think I'm gonna sell that one.
We didn't know it then, but in the waning moments of Tom Brady's career, Cameron Brate won the lottery that night. As you know by now, this is the last time we will see the GOAT in Ray J suiting up for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and in the NFL. There were plenty of current and former Buccaneers players weighing in on the retirement. Guys like Gronk, who have played with Tommy for more than a decade, welcomed him to the two-time retirement club. Then there's a player like Rachaad White, who was 1 year old when the GOAT hit the league, saying he is thankful and grateful for all the things you taught me. Then you have a dude like Logan Ryan, who came to Tampa this past season to reunite with Brady. Those two won a couple of rings together. And how about Ryan Jensen, a man who held off on knee surgery this entire year to return for the playoffs and get one more game with his favorite signal caller. With Brady heading to the broadcast booth, Jensen is already asking for preferential treatment. David Shealy joining us now outside of Raymond James Stadium. And David, we can be here all day with the amount of athletes who chimed in on Tom Brady's retirement. Serena Williams, David Beckham, Derek Jeter, the list goes on, but none of those names ever had to go up against the GOAT.
You're exactly right, Evan. When players were getting ready to play Tom Brady, they said it took more reps on the practice field, more time in the film room. Tom Brady challenged everyone to be better, whether he was their teammate or opponent. Tom Brady's teammates love him. His opponents, no choice but to respect him.
You just see his competitive nature. Like he has that fire inside of him.
The ones who stood against him on the biggest stage have seen him at his best.
Announcer jinxes. Here's Brady's pass. It's Gronkowski.
Ask any player, past, present, future Hall of Fame classmate. They know Brady is the greatest of all time. Shaq Barrett told us the day after the Bucs lost to the Cowboys in the wild card round that there is never going to be another Tom Brady. There can't be, and I don't think anybody is going to disagree with that. There shouldn't be long barbershop debates about who the GOAT is in the NFL. Brady is the only answer.
Yeah, you're exactly right, David. Patrick Mahomes is a long way to go. The next question from fans is, who will be the next quarterback for the Buccaneers? We have plenty of time to discuss that, but as of now, there is only one quarterback on the roster. That is former Florida product, Kyle Trask.
All right, well, another superstar, a music superstar, and a rock band announced their tours with stops in Tampa Bay. We're going to tell you who is coming to town and how you can get your tickets.
Well, mark your calendars. Beyonce and Fall Out Boy are making appearances in Tampa this year.
Never heard of her. Never heard of her. The two are on separate tours with visits to Raymond James Stadium. Fall Out Boy, I have heard of. The Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater as well.
Tampa pre-sale tickets to Beyonce's World Tour are open through February 9th. She's expected to sell out Ray J on August 16th after Renaissance became last year's biggest debut album by a woman.
Yeah,
love that.
I am joking, by the way. We do have more details on how you can sign up for a pre-sale online at 10tampabay.com. That will be quite the event.
You guys don't see me.
Well, you know,
really?
here's
You
the
know
thing
why?
about Beyonce. You know, you got to put a ring on it.
Yeah,
Brady
you
put
do.
7 of them on. So
There you go.
And Tom Brady's done that.
And
hasn't
with
he?
that,
Yeah.
we'll see you later tonight, everyone.
Waiting for you to break out the single ladies dance.
Yeah.